Okay, I think we are live.
Hello.
Let's go.
What's up, Con? What's up, Matt? What's up,
What up, what up?
everybody? We're live. Welcome to the Contemplative CrossFit Weekly Mindstream. All right. This is a show for BDSM lovers, Shrabakas, self-improvement addicts, competent people who secretly hide behind performance. So if you've had, profound experiences of awakening, and then discover that realization did not magically exempt you from needing to appear certain ways to others, compete with fellow meditators, hiding parts of you that want to be seen, uncertainty, fear, uh, fear of rejection, self-doubt, and relationship problems. You're probably in the right place for our live stream here. And so we wanted to mm, talk about what we're doing at CC and also introduce some of the people involved. Here we have Matt with us today. He's been with us for what, second cohort now, right?
Yeah.
Second cohort, and kind of to showcase what kind of people are involved, how people found CC, what they do inside CC, what has changed for people. Um, And Matt is also a fellow, at least, yeah, fellow Kung Fu practitioner. That's what I really relate with him with. Pretty was really big in the parkour world as well. He also, I think, does client one-on-ones for coaching, life coaching. Is that right? Yeah,
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
all sorts of things. But yeah, welcome, Matt. Thanks for joining us. And
Thanks for having me.
you guys know Khan. He's one of the faces here at CC. And then me, yep, John. Good to meet you guys. I had a couple interviews with Frank and one of the operators here at CC, working kind of behind the scenes and been through many, all the at least organized cohorts that CC has run so far. So yeah, thank you everybody for joining us. Yeah, Matt, why don't you maybe tell the people a little bit about yourself and how you found CC. What made you join?
Mm, that's a good question. What made me join? I've been following Frank on Instagram and YouTube for a couple of years, actually for quite some time. Um, and I saw early on already the first sort of advertisement for CC. I saw that, but it appeared very sketchy to me. I was like drawn to it instantly, but then like I'm not sure about these guys. I'm not sure. So it took me quite some time actually to always revisit it, always kept showing up with each new cohort. Like, what the fuck is going on there? Looks interesting. And
Mm.
then I think it was at the end of last year, maybe, when it became like very clear I'm gonna join the next one. Or I'm gonna apply, right? It's not guaranteed that you come in. That was quite exciting, to do the self-interview and the application and like, hmm, will they accept me? Yeah.
What kind of sense of what the kind of work that we do? What was your sense of what that might have been before applying? Like, did you think we were just like a meditation group or just curious?
No, I mean, I got the sense that Frank was mm, quite advanced, but also freaky in the way that he sort of experiences and expresses his realization. But I was drawn to that level of expertise in a sense, right? And then CC seemed like to be a community of these people with the possibility for like direct exchange and direct feedback. And I was drawn to that fact. Yeah. Not
Sounds
to be anonymous anymore, but like sort of to get really in touch with people. Yeah.
mm, yeah, yeah. It's funny how yeah, for all of us, Frank was the beacon that kind of got us all together, just really, in a way, yeah, train, learn, open ourselves up to not just each other, but to ourselves, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Normally,
And there
Frank,
was one specific aspect, actually. I think Frank mentioned it in one of his videos or in the public practice week, I don't remember, that when he first met Mei Cheng, that it was the first time in his life where he actually felt seen. And that was like, okay, I need to see that guy, whoever that is.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I used to measure my own development if I could keep track of what Frank was saying in his videos. This is even before I reached out to him. I was like, if I can kind of understand what he's talking about, then, there's something there to keep going. And I remember what got me to start joining was like, okay, there's some stuff that he's like, talking about that like I think I need to know more about this. It's not really I might understand it logically, but this guy seems to be viscerally or experientially embodying what he's talking about, and that's what I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I want some of that.
Yeah.
So
Big difference. Yeah.
difference, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's beyond, mental, right? Like beyond logic sometimes. But yeah, yeah, I'm glad you found us. Glad you found us.
Yeah, I'm glad too.
Yeah. Let's
It's
see.
been quite a revelation, actually. And I still don't fully get it, you know? It's like, is this real? Like, am I part of this? Really? Shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how's training going for you so far in this cohort?
Well, I mean, you guys are sneaky, right? Last week I had the hot seat, um, and that was quite intense. Then the debrief and the time after, that was really like intense for me, like really confrontational in a sense. Lots of processing. mm, but also at the same time, that's what I'm here for, right? So at some point, mm, in my experience, it gets extremely difficult to sort of get in touch with like certain layers and certain aspects of myself, and they're the mirroring what the hot seat basically is, the pointing out and the pinning helps, right?
Mhm.
So it's both. It's like super intense and uncomfortable, and at the same time, exactly what I signed up for.
Yeah, yeah. To catch the audience up, what we're talking about is something we do as part of our uh, I guess we call it advanced cohort cohort A, and people sign up for this. So we don't not just everyone who joins, we get to just roundtable, pin these people down and point out what we see. But people like Matt will sign up, or in a way, mm, we can see people who would be ready for it or who would benefit from it. And this wouldn't really happen in your first cohort. So Matt's a returner and is willing to be seen in this way. And like you said, how could it not be intense, right? In a way, you're volunteeringly opening yourself up and allowing people just to almost chop you to bits, really, break down
Yeah.
who we are. So
Yeah, maybe it's interesting for the audience also to sort of set the scale and the level of what this is. It's like,
mm,
I've been coaching people for 10 years. Like that's my job, right? So I think I can see quite a bit what's going on for people, right? But now I'm in this room on the hot seat, and now there are people around me that are competent to see the shit that I don't see. Like that's the level that we're talking about. Like it's pretty special in that sense. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's also an element I think Matt you are also someone who, prior to joining CC, have done your own bits of spiritual training, going through different awakening experience, having prolonged period of bliss and clarity, and then coming into more recognition that there's more job to be done. So it's like I think there's also importance in setting up the scale of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I don't know where to start, like we could go on forever into every kind of detail, but mm, the way that I experience it is mm, basically for a while I thought that I was done, like that it's a done deal, like job is done, job's finished, all good, and it really felt that way in my own experience. That it's not even bullshit. It's like, yeah, that was my experience. Cool. Until then, like, little things don't really align, like contention here and there, emotions come up, some trauma surfaces, and all kinds of things. And then all of a sudden, you're like, oh shit, mm, you can sort of non-dual zombie it away, like sort of explain it away and then reify the absolute and all. But after a while, like just being honest, basically, it's like, oh fuck, there's more to be done. Like maybe I need to see a therapist or something like that. Maybe the spiritual is not even helpful here and at this moment. But then I had to, yeah, it's actually humbling. Yeah.
Yeah, what you're speaking to, I think, relates to even how we interview and choose applicants to join the cohort, because we really look for people who have done the work themselves, pretty much as far as anyone could go, right? This really talks about the distinction between a solo practitioner pathway and then something where we train in Sangha, and like we have these people, each other to mirror our blind spots, And I think for people who might not have cultivated or cooked themselves enough, it wouldn't be as mm, effective or beneficial for someone to join CC. So a lot of times when we talk to an applicant who does not end up in that cohort, it's not a no. It's never a no, but it's usually a little bit more cooking and work to be done on their own path
Yeah,
before being ready to be deconstructed. And I think that's
yeah,
a big thing you're talking about is like, we can be very successful in doing, like you said, coaching for 10 years. And at what point does that become maybe a barrier or anchor for furthering beyond the path that we've taken? So
yeah. And
Yeah.
shout
I
out to
mean,
Matt and shout out to Matt and practitioners with 10 years in the path and still have the humility to admit to oneself, you know, they're small.
mhm,
Because we also see the other side of that, people hitting that limit and they don't want to move forward.
mhm.
They don't want to become a beginner again.
yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting experience to be or to feel like the stupidest person in the room. Once more, like, fuck, okay. Yeah, I clearly don't get it. Okay, good.
Right. That beginner's mind is something that is something that could be lost so easily, especially people who are, I want to say, like highly intellectual, highly successful. Why would you change your ways compared to what you have done to get you where you are right now? So yeah, I think that's really important mindset, to have, especially in Kung Fu, right? You go to like a new Kung Fu school or whatever group of practice, and humility, beginner's mind is such an important aspect that's I think missing from a lot of modern aspects of learning, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a coming as you are, right? And how does Mitchell call it? Phenomenological honesty. Phenomenological honesty. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can't say the word either. Phenomenological, yeah. Phenomenological
Yeah.
honest. Right.
Yeah. I
It's
remember
funny.
my first Kung Fu session when I was doing judo first and then joined the first Kung Fu, tryout session. And at some point, the master told me to do 100 push-ups. And I was like, well, first of all, I can't do that, right? And second, why? Why do I have to do this now? And I started to argue. And then one of the practitioners just came by and he said, just shut up, just sip it and do it. And I tried, and it took me a long time. I had to take my breaks in between. And then later in the locker room, I asked what it was for. And it was because during the demonstration, I was leaning against the wall. Yeah. We don't do that. That's disrespectful. I was like, okay, shit, there is another degree of commitment here in this room. Okay, gotta watch out. But
Okay.
again, beginner's mind, right? And like arrogance and maybe maybe also less bad than arrogance, maybe an innocent sort of yeah, I own this place. I wanna, you know, yeah, just express and be good at this. But then okay, slow down. Yeah,
What kind of kung fu
yeah
did
that
you?
was
Sorry. Just
uh,
curious.
it was Shaolin Kung Fu, yeah, northern style mostly. Like we had, uh, it, it was a mix of things. Yeah, we had a couple of animal forms, a couple of weapon forms as well. I really enjoyed the sword form. I remember back then I bought a sword. We practiced with wooden swords, but I wanted to have a real one. So yeah, got myself a fancy sword, but yeah, my form wasn't as good. It really didn't match up. So fancy gear. Yeah,
All sorts of things that are more for display than actually used to practice with. So
yeah, yeah.
fun to have. Yeah.
What kind of kung fu did you do, or do you do?
Oh, right now I am doing a internal Shaolin form that I'm practicing. But traditionally I was really into Wudang internal martial arts. So
Yeah.
yeah, I had a school that was a part of in Seattle when I lived there with a couple teachers that I practiced with for a while. So like internal Wudang Kung Fu stuff, yeah. Tai Chi, Qigong.
And how does that internal bit relate to what we do in CC?
Oh, it was a big part of why I joined CC actually. I did so much internal energy alchemy, internal energy cultivation, really, and it really helped me heal myself, really, or even just to be okay with what injuries I had. So much so that I had this concern that I was reifying the body, you know.
Mm,
Out of all the time I spent internally dissecting this vessel, um, what in very similar way, like I would imagine, say, doing coaching for 10 years, you think that that is it, right? So I thought this was it. And I was scared, like, okay. And it's talked about very openly in internal energy cultivation. You could get trapped in that mindset, that view. So because of that, I joined CC actually to see if I could to make sure I wasn't doing that, I guess.
mm,
And yeah, and it's funny that I had almost a sense of shame about how I was purifying these energy channels because like, oh shit, it's got to be more than this, you know? And so even though I came into CC with this mindset, like maybe I shouldn't be doing this stuff, but throughout my time at CC, if anything, I do it to a more authentic degree. There's like zero shame about why I do it. The why is very clear now instead of like, oh man, I just want perfectly clear central channel. Like I still will work at that, but it's not it's more like a byproduct of just authenticity rather than making into a thing. So
Yeah. Yeah, you're doing this embodiment training in CC, right? I,
that's it.
I
That's
wasn't,
very
I
last.
didn't join yet, but I heard good things about it. Like there's so many things in CC, like it's way too much to attend to actually,
Yeah.
unless you're, I don't know, completely free, financially independent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's training in itself to be able to keep tabs on everything that's happening in CC and to participate as much as we can in all the different uh, training sessions, yeah, all sorts of activities within CC.
Yeah. Yeah. There's definitely a improve in self-management organization on my end, like,
Yeah,
because it just doesn't work otherwise.
right. Yeah, yeah. I'll say that most of my training now isn't act in the sessions of sitting through Mei Cheng's transmissions. I mean, it is, right? But now the transmission goes beyond just the sitting, beyond just the cushion. It's the involvement of maybe a selfless pursuit of making CC work in a way. It's just
Mm.
another example of seeing beyond yourself. Right? It's so clear to me, and almost cliche to say that this life isn't just for me. In what ways can we make the choice to act beyond ourselves? So cliche. Kids joining CC, like man, everything I do, it doesn't, it's not for me. So, mm, yeah. So also to catch people up, I guess we can talk about so far we are in week 4, I believe. Am I counting right? Or this is week 5, right?
Yeah, today's Monday, week
Yeah.
5. Yeah.
So we went through some phases so far in our training in CC. We went through like kind of just an intro week, then we talked about earth element, after that water element, and now this week or last week, and I think it's going to spill over to this week too. We're doing fire element. Um, Trying to think of how I want to talk about this to the audience, but through earth element, this grounding force, we really make contact with whatever we carry with us, with whatever we're bringing into the moment, and then getting used to just making that contact before making any sort of post processing or interpretation, just that raw sense data almost.
It's actually also like starting the process of slowing down to
Mhm.
recognize how much you are disassociating from that contact all the time.
Yep.
Like we are always absorbed, as Taylor would say, but we are absorbed in distractions, in forces that just split ourselves in a million directions. So it's the first step is to make contact to see what is pulling your attention. So usually we see meditation as the practice to just return, come back, be mindful. Right? It's just to build that muscle of having the capacity to recollect ourselves. And once that is accomplished, then we get a chance to gather the fragmentation, the different parts of ourselves that don't want to talk to each other, that's stuck in the past, that's rushing to the future, that is insisting on the present moment should be like this, blitzed out, or like that, luminous and clear, or whatever that is, right? And then we get to see how we are fabricating this moment, and the next moment, and the next moment, or even for more senior initiates, even the moment, how we are holding the moment. And I think, John, now we are entering the territories of fire, of purification, how we make sense of this story that keep retelling ourselves? And can we rest and let that story cease so that we can recognize beyond our concavity, beyond the stories that maybe we've told ourselves like a million times about, oh, I am like this, or wow, I'm the man, whatever the variation of the story is. Having this possibility of illuminating what it's like to be yourself beyond those stories.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, because we're actually seeing that Mei Chen was saying that in some way he only start his teaching in week 4 because it's like it take the first 3 weeks just to have everyone in their position because we just kind of like little children just running out of the classroom all the time. Ah, and just like 3 weeks like sit down, you all sit over there, you sit over there. Because our mind is
Yeah,
just
that's
frantic like
totally.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like that first week is really just to sync everyone up, right? It's kind of like clear a table. All right, basics, and I actually really enjoy like even a kung fu aspect. My favorite thing to train is just the basics. So I think some people come in and it's like, wow, I already know this stuff, and that just goes to show how much training there is still necessary if you have certain feelings about that already. But I don't think very many people are like that at all. Most people who join the boot camp are do have some aspect of the beginner's mind there. So shout out to the anchor team for doing the work of sorting out the applications for people who are really well suited for the boot camp. Yeah, and in doing so, the CC is such a tight container because of the training that we do here. It really does matter um, uh, the kind of karma people bring into CC. So I think that's why there's such a rigorous process of checking who would be suited for the training.
I think there was a comment from Frank about how a lot of materials out there doesn't really touch on karma, where it seems to be something, something, something happened, boom, happy ever after. And then afterwards, the endless integration. So this aspect about talking exactly how a karma compounds and through the aggregates and the elements is the point of the first weeks of training. Just to see ourselves, just to see our bullshit and our blessing and our curse and the baggage that we bring around that we call like this is me. So
Yeah.
I'm curious also how that reflect maybe to you, Matt, in terms of pre-CC, pre all these training aggregates and elements, and because you previously were spending your time and seeing result in spiritual training as well, but now coming to this container that is rigorously training you, what's the difference that you notice?
Mm. I guess something that came up just listening to you is that for the longest time, especially in the beginning when I really started like a dedicated practice, it was like either you get it or you got it or you didn't, right? Like mm, there was never the thought of, yeah, you actually had a profound realization and there's more. There was just like a yes or no, like a black and white kind of thing. And in CC, it's like, oh yeah, you can have all kinds of realizations in all kinds of, like levels of depth in that sense. And there might still be some contraction here, some concavity there, some weakness that you could work on, some fitness that you can improve. So I've never been to like, I mean, I've done some things, but like I've never been to like such a rigorous training of like every day, just this bootcamp style, like everyday sitting, everyday discussion, And now in this new role, even more, right? There's even on top of the normal cohort, there's cohort A, and then there's team activity, and then there's this and that. So it's just like mm, a pressure cooker in that sense. Yeah. Like even like there's actually no, you stand no chance. Like it, yeah, you stand no chance. Even if you try to stay ignorant in that sense, you just sit in the main transmission. At some point, you're just cooked. What are you gonna do?
Learn to, yeah, try to enjoy it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because mm, I say I enjoy what we do, but if I really what does that mean? Because when I look at it from maybe an outside perspective, I'm like, this is really rigorous and this is like intense. Like, why do I enjoy this? You know? So which relates to, one of the slogans or lines we talk about in CC is the BDSM, right? And BDSM has its own meaning and connotations outside of CC, but inside CC is, the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, and modernity, which is such an aspect that I don't think a lot of I don't know what would call it, spiritual communities even talk about, like you said, people have these experiences, awakenings, realizations, whatever you want to call it. Um, and then what? What do you do with this view that you've kind of cultivated, right? And so within CC, it for me at least, it's really clear that realizing things like the nature of mind, nature of emptiness, or whatever you know key foundational understandings there are, it really is just the beginning. Because from that, those kind of understandings really for me, I feel like it's now I know what it actually feels like to be authentic, and now there's real work to be done. Um, I think that's what CC has definitely illuminated for me is just the kind of the I guess orders of operation of how this kind of thing works. In this modern day, I think we're all bombarded with so much information and data and um, practices like, we can easily get lost in the sauce of uh, what this is all about, I guess. But yeah.
Yeah, it's nicely integrated, right? I mean, we have even I think on Sundays we have like a Minecraft round,
Oh, yeah.
right? So CC doesn't really care about like a distinction between divine and mundane in that sense. Like it's just merging. Yeah.
Yeah. I have yet to make the Minecraft sessions. But I do have it. I guess my daughters play Minecraft, so I think one day I'm going to try to join that. I don't
I
know.
joined last time. I just joined. I don't know what Minecraft is even. I just joined to listen to the guys play.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I'm just gonna hop on and talk shit. I think that sounds fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. By the way, Fire Week, and I'm cooking also on the outside. It's like 35 degrees where I live.
That's right. You're in, let me make sure I say this right, Switzerland, right?
Yeah, Switzerland. I'm in Basel, Switzerland. Yeah.
Which in my head,
Usually you would think it's mountains and it's cold, but not in summer.
I have a
Yeah.
very stereotypical idea what that is. I think it's like, Swiss Alps, people skiing, snow everywhere.
all the time, whole
Oh,
year.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Not no, not
Nope.
quite.
Gets hot, huh? There's a real summer there.
Yeah, yeah. We have a real summer. And the city where I live is basically like a little bit of like the heat is just contained. There's not much air. We have a river, that's nice. So I can walk out the door and just go jump into the river. That's
Mhm.
definitely an advantage. But here in my apartment, whew, yeah.
Interesting. Are you originally from Germany or are you just of German?
Yeah,
descent?
I'm from Germany actually. Yeah, I moved to Switzerland. I don't know, uh, 7 years ago or so. Yeah.
Is that something that's pretty, I don't know if I want to say common, but there's a lot of Germans in Switzerland?
Yeah, I'm right at the border. Here in this town, we have, I think, 30% expats. Well, not only Germans, right? It's a big pharma city, big pharma corporation, lots of
Oh,
expats joining.
yeah,
So it's mixed town here. But
interesting.
for me, like, I don't know, I wanted to get out of Germany.
Mm.
Ain't going back.
No, what is it about Germany? I know Germany has its own kind of flavor of,
We got a lot of Germans in
yeah, yeah,
CC, like
tons,
a lot of
Yeah, actually,
Germans. Yeah.
yes.
tons
Yeah,
of
we're processing a lot of German karma.
Germans and
Yeah.
Singaporeans. What is that? What is that?
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's like I don't know. I totally don't know enough to really talk about either country, but seems a sort of strict structure, and that kind of somehow puts its own kind of pressure on people. And I think it kind of it cooks people in a certain way that, you know, maybe want to bust out of whatever that is. I don't know.
Yeah. And it's sneaky. Like one of the reasons why I don't want to go back to Germany is that people have a very rigid idea of how things should be, right? Now, I have a different idea that's not really compatible to that, but I still also have a pretty rigid idea of how things should be, which was part of my hot seat last week, So it's like the same sort of karma, just yeah, showing up differently.
You left the country, but that thing is still in you, huh?
Of
The German.
course. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, but for some reason I never felt really mm, German. I felt more at home in Spain or some place like that. Yeah. More
That
out,
was
more
the
open. Yeah.
that was the time you spent your bliss years in, right? Spain.
Yeah,
You-
yeah, yeah,
You're blissing out
totally.
on a Spain roof for like 2 years.
Basically.
You tell me about that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I ever
Yeah,
heard.
how was life like that? Like in those bliss years?
Um, Great. Um, mm, I think I was pretty like how can I say, like lacking responsibility to to pay taxes and like make a living and stuff. Like that was really absolutely unimportant to me. Just like, yeah, meditation. I mean, why, constantly meditating, basically, constantly happy, just hanging out there in Spain, making new friends. I had a local girlfriend at the time. We would do all kinds of things, go to the beach, go to parties, go to a Spanish wedding. And for me, it was like, mm, whatever, I, I could just, they could just take me to whatever they were doing and I would just be part of it. Yeah. But then later, I returned to that same place and it was different and they were not going out so much anymore. I wasn't with that girlfriend anymore, but I was still connected to these people. And they were saying, well, back then it was because of you that we went out all the time. And I'm like, what?
Oh wow.
Interesting.
What? We don't do that normally. I'm like, but I did it because of you. So it was very strange experience. And at the time I felt like that's the place where I want to live. I found my home, I really feel at home there. But of course it has nothing to do with that place really. Yeah.
Hmm. How
Yeah,
did
sometimes we talk about go ahead, go ahead.
I was just curious, like, so if someone is in, say, a very blissed out phase in their life, what would make someone want to stray from that or to seek something beyond this blissfulness?
Mm, I don't know. There was one moment when I was in Moji's ashram. I sort of walked in, and I've never stayed there, but we walked in just to visit and to have a look, and I felt like, okay, I can stay here and be in bliss. Like that's just it. Like I'm gonna be fine. I can just settle here and be happy for the rest of my life. Done deal. But no, no. Something compelled me. Like I have to go back to Switzerland where people are grumpy. It makes no sense, but like that wasn't my place, you know.
Hmm.
But it was totally irrational and not explainable in a way.
Hmm.
I
Somehow
just knew that no.
as, almost a returning to or an opening up to what we call modernity.
Yeah,
I think if we just, choose to just settle into just maybe just blissfulness, it's kind of like not acknowledging other aspects out there because life isn't all about just bliss, right? So,
yeah. Well, I mean, sure. Um, I mean, totally reifying something and ignoring everything else, yeah, right? But yeah, interesting. And then I came back here, and you know, shit hits the fan. You know, like Switzerland is expensive. You got to make a lot of money consistently. You know, it's very good life here. Everything is very clean. People are friendly and polite. It's really nice, but cash needs to be rolling consistently. Yeah. And then what am I doing here? You know, like what am I doing? I'm coaching. Okay, I'm coaching. But what am I actually coaching? Business coaching, life coaching, or is it Dharma? Hmm. But I can't tell people that. In the beginning, I did, right? I had like my whole website was full of spiritual stuff, but nobody showed up. Okay, I have to change my language. Okay. Yeah.
that
Got to be
actually,
more of a Trojan horse.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that is a very foreign idea for me. Like I still don't really understand or see how people promote themselves. Like I've never seeked for a coach for anything, I don't think. I probably should have. I just never knew to do so. That idea is so I know so little about it, you know. I'm just imagining like, okay, as far as what I could hear or know is like Switzerland has a big has a lot of money. It seems like pharmaceuticals is I think you were saying. Do a lot of your clients come from that realm? Like I guess business people looking to, I don't know, continually more successful, you think, or
No, like mm, I'm more like more of a niche product by now, right? It also changed over the years, but people come usually for basically they come because of the first because of you know the first principle, suffering exists.
Hmm.
Suffering exists. So they are at work, have a good job, but they are still unhappy. They're in a relationship, it should be good, but it isn't. Like the common theme is they have maneuvered themselves into a position in life where they can't be really themselves, but they don't know how to get out of it. They don't know how to be themselves. They don't know what the consequences of that would be. It's usually that. It's actually come as you are is actually the solution, but
Yeah,
that's not so
it's
easy.
CC too. Just it's like
Yeah.
sounds very
Yeah.
similar.
Mm. I really love my job. Just before I had a really nice session with a client, we actually went for a walk. So there is some freedom in that work too, right? You could just do random shit if the client is up for it. Mm. Yeah.
How have you seen your work? How has CC affected your work? Is what I'm curious about.
Yeah, massively, especially group work, uh, workshops in companies mm, usually got me drained a lot. Like the whole sort of energy of the room, the karma of the room would really like drain me, and then I had to recover afterwards. Yeah, and that is now it's like different, very different. Yeah, a lot easier actually, because you know compared to like, I don't know, a discussion in the main cohort and the consequentiality of what we're working on and the level that we're working on, that is just in comparison, it's just not such a big deal to give a workshop in a company.
Yeah. Means your fit is increasing, right?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I remember having nervousness, anxiety, or whatever it is about, I mean, looking back at the different things to get nervous about, it seems from what I feel like I'm capable of now, all the stuff seems kind of almost silly, but we have to go through those steps to really learn about ourselves and to really hone that skill.
Yeah.
So
I was incredibly nervous in the self interview, first time speaking up in discussion, one-on-one with Mei Cheng. Then we did, like last cohort, we did the YouTube lives, right, about the movies. Super nervous there. Like, yeah, sure. I mean, that's sort of part of it, right? Yeah. Until it isn't.
yeah, it starts to feel like excitement, right?
Yeah.
I think we've talked
Yeah.
about how anxiousness and excitement is really, it feels pretty much identical. It's just our the context and our relationship to it. Right?
Yeah.
So, uh, so yeah, curious about how the fire element training has been going for you. What do you make of that?
Mm,
What is it to you? What is fire element training?
yeah. Fire element is like, I mean, when we build things from the ground up, like earth, water, air, fire, like we also build up the um, contact, feeling, form formation. And now I think we are with perception, right? So it gets more and more complex and more granular. And now we basically have everything available. And that leads to complexity and cooking in that complexity. Yeah.
I think fire
So
element.
it's,
Yeah.
yeah.
Go ahead, sorry.
So yeah, it brings out, I mean, for me, I'm mostly struggling in relationships, to be honest. Like relationships bring out the triggers and the conflicts for me personally.
Yeah.
The sit today was like wellness, very peaceful, very blissful, but then going back to life, contention in relationship. Yeah.
Yeah. Relationships are like when it comes down to after all this training, like that's where I don't know. I think it's like where uh life is for me. It's like, yeah, within our relationships is one for uh opportunity for further openings, and two, it's just really to in a way show your chops. I think, people talk about whatever this spirituality thing is, and it's really easy to maybe sit in a blissful state, not have to have so many more relationships. I find now uh, I don't mind building more relationships, just being able to just make contact with anything really. There's things just don't feel as adverse, uh, you know, with all this training. Yeah, and I was gonna say earlier, fire element I think might be one of my. I always enjoyed this phase of training. Um, and I was just kind of reminiscing about how when we first started, when I first started, I didn't really have a good sense of what that was, what fire element was, like I kind of had this idea that, through things being burned, there's a process of purification. So almost like how I would do my internal kung fu, like qigong, I would want to like endlessly purify channels within my body or something like that. The fire element training is not necessarily about getting rid of anything, right? Now I kind of see as this gathering of things to allow a combustion process to happen. And that is what's getting purified. The process of, not that there is things actually being dissolved in that way. So yeah, it's very alchemical, right? It's just really uh, putting together the conditions, setting up the conditions such, and gathering the right kind of material to allow loops to kind of close in on themselves. And in that way, the process becomes clear. Obscurations are kind of removed in that manner. So that's why I think, yeah, fire element is so almost fun to me, because we go through these first 3, 4 weeks of gathering, learning what we're gathering, and then 4 week for the fire element, it's like watching it do some magic, being that magic of happening actually. So
I think, yeah, I think it's also important to note out that your ability, John, or even for you, Matt, to be able to enjoy the sit in these week is you guys have a lot of experience in exertion and getting your shit together and overcoming adversities, overcoming injuries, having physical breakdown, getting humbled by whatever. But I think I can speak on my side of being kind of like a younger guy on a younger side in CC, haven't been through much. These weeks are very challenging because this could be the first time that we taste grief, or this could be the first time that we contend with the fact of impermanence, or getting disillusioned by our own sense of whatever naivete conception we have about reality just fall away. So there's also the other side of fire element, which is, oh, contacting the impurity feels terrible, very contrasting with the sense of spirituality is love and light. Of course, it's going to be love and light and bliss if you know how to work it. Because there could be survival, yeah, survivalship bias, right? Because you guys
Yeah.
done your thing, you you've been there, done that, you gone through it. Now you have the ability to just really, oh, no big deal. I know what to do.
But it's not linear in that sense, I don't think, right? I'm struggling a lot with water,
Mm.
and that's just week 2. Like last boot camp, week 2 sucked. This boot camp, week 2 sucked, But it just week 2. But then the week 3 air is like, a lot of people were struggling with that amount of spaciousness, and then the sense that you get in there. I'm like, that's so awesome, that's we can hang out there forever. I don't care. So it's not it doesn't seem to be linear, or maybe I just forgot to clear up a couple of things along the way.
oh, yeah, it's funny that we break down these phases and weeks to these different elements, but it's never just that one element we're training. Like you said, not linear. It's like, man,
Spiral. Yeah.
yeah, spiral for sure. In anything, you can find the fire element in it. It doesn't mean, yeah. So kind of makes sense. Not makes sense, but yeah, it's interesting that the water element was something that was a little bit trickier for you in the way that you said it. It felt sucky, and that's a realm of like desire, like where seeing where our the momentum and trajectory and the vectors of all these different things that make us do what we do, you know. So it's like big aspect is authenticity, I think, to see why we do what we do. Uh,
And honesty, right?
Honestly,
Yeah.
mm,
Yeah, so stuff comes up for examination, right?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's interesting that we don't really focus on any techniques in CC, and what we're working with is what the process of the process, the process of becoming, and
Yeah.
we just
I've
watch
always
what comes up, right?
I always think about like the distinction between technique and what's going on with CC. Sometimes we say it's a methodology versus technique, but it's really like what is the technique of speaking English? Like, it's a new language. You either know how to speak it or you don't. And what is the technique of French? Right? Like you curl your tongue, you do the more or something. It doesn't matter, right? Like you speak French. So in the same way, you speak aggregates and elements. Right? Do you know how to speak it or you don't? And how
Mm,
well can you speak it? Right? So it's always more of like, oh, it's a language, phenomenological precision. How you can describe how there's information here, on the way it so-called vibrate into existence, and then entropic force, let it crumble, and then I do it again. So what's the yeah? So in that way, like this, it's a whole language around this. It's a whole pattern and model that we go about it. Yeah. But I think to your point, John, sometimes that's very, very challenging because we need to have our ABC first, and like some grammatical scaffolding so we know like the structure of a sentence, how it should flow like, and then we do a paragraph, and after we do a paragraph, we're gonna do some reading assignment, we write an essay, and then now we make an essay about ourselves. So it's not just some generic essays that you're like, speak about your opinion on the tree over there. But no, like what makes you you? Like, oh, I don't know what to say.
Trying to describe your own experience as it's happening. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think like so
Mhm.
many of us, we were talking about before we turn on the live stream, is about this is like showcasing the different talents coming into CC and stepping up to take on a team position like Matt have recently committed himself into, and John has been doing this for a while now. But I think like there's so much to you guys that 1 hour, an hour, 15 minutes can barely scratch it. We haven't even touched on the fact that Matt has written 2 books, and where there's this whole side of exploration into, I think, the Gnosticism or Christianity that Matt is into, but we haven't even touched into that. And I don't think like one conversation is capable of touching that. Like on the side that John, you cultivate the Qigong Taoist, but like it's only very recently you started to open up and talk about it, right?
Yeah.
Because there's so much that we don't really know how to start the bridging process.
Mhm.
Last week as well, like Roger, we talk about an hour, but like there's still so much to Roger and his ventures into Robert Monroe's astral projections, lucid dreaming, like just so much stuff that's like because everyone's got to this point has like 10 years under the belt of all sort of experimentation that we've done to get here.
Yeah. Yeah. All that self-cooking that many of us have done prior to joining CC really create some a pool of talent that is involved in CC now. Yeah, for sure.
Bunch of nerds.
Which in there. And your current would I be accurate in saying your current kind of physical training is parkour? Or maybe
No, no,
decent.
no. I'm retired from that. Yeah. No, it's after the whole martial arts period, I got into parkour, and that went on for a while. And then I was a coach there and so on. But all I'm doing now basically is archery.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
So that's parkour is like, I mean, over 40, so relax.
Yeah, that stuff is pretty intense, right? As a
Yeah,
40-year-old, yeah, even me, I'm 45 this year, and probably a big reason why I do Tai Chi now versus like, I mean, I still practice Muay Thai, but it's a reason why I really appreciate the slow, refined stuff nowadays too. It's
yeah,
all those injuries
yeah,
really kind of add up. Which actually I wanted
yeah.
to ask you about. I think you had a pretty major injury from parkour, right? You're
Yeah, I
showing
did. Yeah,
a scar,
actually, scar. Yeah,
and that
yeah.
must affect your archery. Is that your forward arm?
That is my forward arm. Yeah. Um, it doesn't really affect that. No, I'm not. I mean, I'm not like, shooting every day. It's just recreational, basically, just for fun. Yeah. Even though in the archery community, quickly you have to go to tournaments. They all go to tournaments all the time, like get medals and little certificates and stuff. Yeah. No, but I like the intuitive aspects of archery. It's without much of, technical equipment, just to a friend of mine, he coined the term from the center to the center, right? So it's really also about like alignment, and basically just letting the arrow express somehow. Yeah. But yeah, yeah, parkour injury. Yeah. Yeah, that was pretty bad. That sucked. Yeah. Mm,
Describe what you're
I
doing.
was I was we were practicing, and I was on a wall, basically running on a wall and running up to make a jump, make a leap into a tree, and to grab a branch of that tree. And the branch was pretty high up, so I couldn't really test it. Before, we would always test the surfaces. Usually, we couldn't test it, and it was slippery. So I slipped, and then I fell sort of head down, head first, and I extended my arm to protect myself. And then I had like what's called like a open luxation. So it basically like yeah, now it gets really nasty, bloody. I don't want to go into the details, right? So it was bad.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah.
Do you think that trauma you sustained kind of propelled you in a certain direction on your personal journey, you think? I only ask because that was a big thing for me, my injuries.
Yeah. Yeah. I tried to sort of integrate it. Like right after the hospital, I went back to that tree, and spent some time there,
Interesting.
and so on. Yeah. But I definitely, one aspect that I sustained even till today is uh, just to function, because when I had that injury, mm, I admitted myself to the hospital, like my friend drove me in his car, in his dad's car, actually, to the hospital. We didn't even call an ambulance. And then I admitted myself to the hospital, and I had lost half of my blood already at that point, right? So I
Whoa.
basically walked in there like fucking Rambo or something like that. Just something switched. And I think that sort of, suck it up, get your shit together, push, control, that sort of thing is still active somehow.
You just did what you had to do in that moment. You
Yeah.
just wow.
And
When
I wouldn't, it's not an achievement even, it's not like a conscious decision. It's just like, it just happened.
you,
Yeah.
yeah, sometimes it takes like those kind of extreme situations for us to as almost like a I don't want to say test, but like oh shit, looking back, like my whole life prepared me for being able to do that thing in that moment. Yeah. When you think
Yeah.
about your injury now and what has happened in the past, does it feel, is it disturbing still? I'm just curious.
Mm, no.
No.
No,
Yeah. It's gruesome stuff.
no. It's like it's been for the longest time somatically disturbing, like certain movements, like hanging from something, even in the gym, or like even doing push-ups, like something that would just resemble that injury, that movement. That yeah, that was. Oh, and one day that was also interesting. I was in a yoga class and we did shavasana, and the floor was cold, right? So I was laying on the cold floor, and all of a sudden my whole body would tense up and I had like spasms in the back. Like, what the fuck is going on? I'm just laying here in shavasana. And then like click, oh, when they got me into the surgery, into the room, I was on this metal thing and that was fucking cold, and that memory popped up. And all of a sudden I was back in that room, like so mm, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think the residue is mostly like this control and performance pattern, to be honest.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You talk about your how you recovered from such a severe thing. What was the therapy like, or I think you mentioned your kung fu training has a lot to do with
Yeah.
being able to.
Well, it, I was completely I was like completely nuts at the time. First thing I did in the hospital, even on the way to surgery, the doctors around me, I said, when can I go back to training? And the chief surgeon, he said, like, we're trying to save your arm, maybe you're going to lose your arm. I'm like, oh fuck, shit, this is bad. I don't like that. Right. But then afterwards, like after even in hospital, just waking up, okay, when can I go back to training? I was checking out the roofs. How could you jump from that roof to that roof? It's completely nuts. And then I think I was really blessed in that sense. When I went to physio, I found a guy, uh, um, a short, really muscular Russian guy, and that was my physio. But he was an osteopath, and that guy saved my life. Like that guy we became friends, and he worked overtime, trained with me for 1 year, and that's why I can do what I can do today. It's an absolute blessing. Yeah. And from the parkour, from the kung fu, it was just like the discipline, right? Because recovering from an injury like that requires a lot of work, basically. Yeah.
Wow, very cool. Yeah. Do you I don't know about you, but I look back at my motorcycle injury I had that was so severe that got me to like the lowest lows in my whole life. Opiate addiction, painkillers, all this kind of stuff. But I look back at it, I'm like, wow, I'm glad that happened. Like I owe that, oh, whatever I am now, where I'm at, I feel so good about things. And things are just so clear that I'm almost happy that I had such a severe injury.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
like,
that's incomprehensible from the outside, but
mhm.
it
Yeah,
got you here and it got you like a shit ton of skills under the belt.
I like
Yeah.
that you went back to the tree
Yeah.
afterward. Yeah.
It was a very big and very old tree, and it was not his fault.
Fuck that tree. After I
Yeah,
crashed,
I also said that to the tree, but it didn't budge.
after I crashed my motorcycle, my bike was mangled, right? But the gas tank had fallen off in the crash, and it was all crushed and mutilated and whatever. And I kept that uh, gas tank and hung it on my wall as like I
Yeah.
don't know why, maybe a reminder. Yeah, it was a reminder, but I kind of look
Yeah.
back at that as kind of morbid almost, but I find it similar to you going back to your tree. When I did move
Yeah.
from Seattle, though, I got rid of the tank. But
Yeah. And also one, and I think we are over time already, but one little side story. After a year of recovery and all that, I went back to the hospital to meet the surgeon who performed the initial surgery. And it was a year later, and he didn't remember me, didn't know my name, didn't recognize me. But then he saw the arm and the injury, and that's when he clicked, right? Because for him, it's just a piece of meat. And he's like, "Oh, can I touch your arm?" And he was looking. He was like, "What the fuck? This is so good. This is crazy."
I did
He
this shit.
was he was so happy about the result of this because usually he's just operating on like really old people, and it's usually not going well, or they complain and they even sue him or whatever. He was the happiest man. So that was a nice sort of closing the loop moment, because really to hand my life over, I had no chance to that guy, and he did like a 6-hour surgery. Um, must have been insane. Yeah,
That's cool.
yeah.
Uh, I thought it was just a bicep, some sort
No,
of
no,
minor
no,
injury, but you
no.
almost lost an arm.
Yeah, the artery was torn and everything was fucked. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and then when I got out of the hospital, I told my grandma that I'm going back to parkour, and I'm going to be better than I was before and all of that nonsense. And my grandma was like freaking out, like, this guy is nuts. This is nuts. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
haven't been a motorcycle since my accident.
Oh, really? You haven't been? Wow.
I gave my bike away actually after that. I mean, it was ruined, but um, only because I remember thinking about like, oh, I almost died. I didn't say bye to anybody. Shit, I got
Yeah.
people that care for me. This is before I had kids though. Um, but now living in Hawaii, weather's so nice. Not like I want to get on a bike right away. I think I'm gonna let my kids grow up a little bit, and then I'm gonna jump back on a bike.
But it's also good, not to be so reckless and selfish. I was very much a big ego that time.
Yeah,
My poor parents, actually.
yeah. Is that funny? You hurt yourself and you just think about what you put others through.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah. Oh, yeah. Hmm. I know we're getting closer at time, but anything you wanna any topics we just kind of freestyled this, but anything you wanna talk about as far as yourself, your talents, or even just additional CC stuff we might not have covered? A lot of stuff.
Well, I mean, this video is also a bit building the bridge, no, for people out there who could potentially benefit from CC. Um, yeah, I think like if you're out there and you feel like you really feel the desire to go all the way and also to be seen and also to be among practitioners that are like very dedicated and at the same time also cool people just to hang out with. But I think that's the right place. I think it's a very precious and rare opportunity. Yeah. So better get in now before it gets too big.
Or it could just disappear. Who knows?
Or it could disappear, yeah.
In a way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Never
on
existed.
that, poof. But until that point, we still have a program you can check out. CC is available at mindtrain.cc, and we will make an announcement soon regarding an upcoming workshop. That is one way for us to stay connected together. at sometime around mid-July. So you can check that out. And until that time, thank you, Matt. Thank you, John. Frank is on the move today, so he can't join us, but he should be able to get back to regular programming next week when we have another talent to showcase.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Right. And now we're ending this meeting so that we can hop on to another meeting.
Yeah. On to the next. Always work to be done.